Welcome to my channel. Let me give you a small but potent example. Do you ever feel anxious if someone talks to you in English? Want to respond but feeling out of ideas? You're not alone. Every day, millions of people like you fight to be understood, to understand, to be understood, and to speak with confidence. But here's the thing. Learning English doesn't necessarily have to be difficult. Sometimes the simplest moments in life, ordering tea, saying hello to a neighbor, smiling at someone you don't know, can be the most profound learning tools. I'll take you through those easy moments in this video. I'll show you how to make everyday life work to help you become better at English. And you'll do it without feeling pressure, without feeling scared, and without feeling lost. If you've been looking for something nice to grow, here it is. So stay with me till the end. Your English journey is going to become easy, practical, and yes, beautiful. Let's begin. Chapter 1. I saw the English everywhere round me. It began with one word. I was headed down a busy street near my home, simply taking care of some mundane business. I wasn't thinking in English. I wasn't studying. I wasn't practicing. I was just living my day out like I always did. And then I saw it. A shop door had an itty-bitty sticker. It read in large white letters, "Push." That word stayed with me. I'd seen it, in fact, many times. But that day I saw it in a different way. I didn't skip it. I didn't ignore it. I considered it as a student. I whispered it mentally. Push. I smiled. It felt good. One word, one simple English word. And there it was, in front of me. I hadn't opened a textbook. I hadn't watched a lesson. But I had learned something. That was a life-altering moment for me. From then on, I began to actually see English all over the place. I saw the word sale in red letters in shop windows. I noticed open and close signs on doors. I saw stop signs on the road. I grabbed a bottle of water and read the label. Mineral water, pure and cool. At the grocery store, I saw the words low fat, fresh, butter, and buy one, get one free. I wasn't even trying hard. I was just watching with new eyes. And then it struck me, English surrounds me. I'm not in an English-speaking country. I don't have foreign friends. But English is still here, in my city, my home, even in my hand. I have a phone that speaks English. I will listen to music that sings in English. I watch videos that are in English. It was never far away. It was always near. I simply hadn't noticed before. I remember that spike in anemone so well. It was on the window of a bus, and I was inside the bus. It said, "Fast Internet, now here." I read it. Then I whispered it. Then I smiled. Because I understood it, without a dictionary, without help. I knew what it meant. That's when it dawned upon me. The world is my classroom. From that moment, I made this simple promise to myself. I'm going to learn just one word every time I go out. Just one, not 10, not 20, only one. And little by little, the English around me was my teacher. Other days I picked up the word entry from a parking gate. Sometimes I see it reading the word discount at a clothing shop. I didn't write it down. I didn't make long notes. I just noticed. I repeated it. I whispered it, and I remembered it. This kind of learning is gentle. It's not pressure. It's not hard. It's not heavy. It's light. And it works. Even my phone helped me. I switched my phone's language to English. At first, I was afraid. What if I got stuck? What if I'd hit the wrong button? But I took a chance. Gradually, I began to know words like settings, storage, battery, and Wi-Fi. These words became my daily ritual. I didn't study them. I lived with them. And the same thing happened with music. I heard a song on YouTube in English. I had no grasp of every single word. But there was one line I caught. I feel good. I searched for the meaning. I whispered the line again. And suddenly, that song turned into a mini lesson. The next day, I listened again. This time, I understood more. The music was no longer just a form of entertainment. It was helping me to learn. And all of this was taking place outside a classroom. No teacher was guiding me. No exam was waiting. But I was learning. Slowly, quietly, every day. And I grew to trust this process. I didn't have to wait for the perfect class or the perfect moment to pursue my dreams. I already owned every title. My eyes, my ears, my city, my phone, my daily life. Allow me to share with you a very important fact. English is not a subject. Doing it is not something you do and then forget about. It's a part of life. And if you begin to see it all around you, you will begin to grow without fear, without pressure, without stress. So here's a little challenge for you. Look for one English word when you leave tomorrow, even if all you do is go to the corner shop. Just one. Read it. Say it in your heart. Try to remember it. That's all. Do this every day, and in a month you will study 30 words, and you won't even feel tired. This is passive learning. It's gentle. It's kind. It works like magic. Next chapter, I'll tell you how I used these 3 little words and actually began speaking slowly, fearlessly, even when I was by myself. For seeing is the first step. Speaking is next. Together, let's take that step. Chapter 2. I made easy English. Moments a part of your life, and when I started noticing English in my own environment, I began to feel something different. I felt curious. I wanted to do more than just read signs or labels. I also wanted to speak English, any way at all. But I was still shy. I wasn't prepared for the deep discussions or long speeches either. And so I asked myself, what would be the easiest possible thing I could do today? 3 words is all it took, and that question changed what I did in my program and, ultimately, the English of my students. What do I do? It was all the mirror's fault. I was brushing my hair one morning. I turned to the mirror and smiled. Then, softly, I said, "Good morning." It felt silly at first, but I kept doing it. Every day I woke up to myself and said one sentence in English. On other days, I said, "How are you?" Other days, "You look nice today." It wasn't perfect, but it was something. And it made English like part of me. Not school, but a morning friend. I also started little English habits in the day. For instance, on a bottle of shampoo with English writing. I generally ignored it before, but since then, I read one sentence every time I showered. makes your hair stronger and shinier. That line has been living with me all day. I didn't need a dictionary. I just repeated the words. I felt as though I had learned something real, something useful. I also began to watch extremely short English clips, not full lessons, just 2 minutes. I selected something light, perhaps a basic conversation, a cartoon, or a daily English expression. I tuned in while I ate breakfast. Certain times I didn't get stuff at all, but that was okay. I simply listened, smiled, and plucked a sentence or phrase. It's a beautiful day. Or, let's go outside. I let these small sentences into my thoughts. But my favorite practice was attempting to use English in reality. I once went into a tiny shop near my home. The shopkeeper was stacking some snacks. I glanced at him and took a breath. "How are you?" My heart was beating fast. I had no idea what he would have to say. But he smiled, a big, warm smile, and he said, "I'm good, thanks." That was it. A tiny moment, a few words. But I felt proud, like I'd put my club at the top of the mountain. It was one of those things that really gave me a lot of confidence. It reminded me that one sentence, just one, can foster connection, joy, and growth. That day, I started hunting for other small opportunities to speak. When I placed orders for food, I would say, "1 burger, please." At the park, I'd say, "Nice weather today." At the drugstore, I'd say, "I need toothpaste." They were not complete conversations, but they were real, and they were mine, my English, my progress. Each habit was simple, easy, but when I did them each day, it was like a superpower. See, habits don't have to be huge to make a difference. In fact, small habits are more sticky because they're easier to repeat. And practice reinforces confidence. Say it to yourself that you are fabulous 10 days in a row, and suddenly it feels more real. You read one shampoo sentence a day, and words catch in your mind. When you watch a 2-minute video every morning, you start to comprehend a little more with your ears. These small things are like droplets of water. One drop doesn't do much, but many drops, they fill a cup. And that cup is your English. And there's a soft beauty in this sort of learning. No pressure, no fear, just soft steps, one by one. So if you're beginning your English journey, I'd like you to do something today. Don't wait for the right moment. Start now. Say hello to your mirror. Watch 1 minute of a video. Read a label. Whisper a new word. These may be simple things, yet they are the seeds of something larger. One day, you'll look back and smile at all of this, just as I have. And you'll say, "It all began with that small habit." In the following chapter, I will explain how I had commenced to speak, even when alone, and trained my mouth to say the words that were in my brain. Because it is one thing, you see, thinking in English. Speaking it aloud, even to yourself, is a different level of power. Let's do it together. Chapter 3. I began talking to myself, and it worked. It might sound funny, but one of the largest shifts in the way I used my English occurred when I started speaking to myself. Yes, only me, no partner, no teacher, no camera. At first it felt strange. I didn't know if I was doing it the right way. but bit by bit, I learned something else that was important. I didn't need anyone else to start speaking English. I only needed me. And it started one quiet morning. I was brushing my teeth, as usual, but this time I stared at myself in the mirror and said aloud, "I am brushing my teeth." That was it. Simple, clear, real. And for the first time, it felt like English was a part of my day, not just in a chapter in a book, but as a living language I used. I started talking in English right after that, narrating all of these things that I did. I am washing my face. Now I'm wearing my shirt. I am making tea. These were not big sentences, but they were mine. They matched my real life, and that changed everything. I talked while walking. I see a red car. The sky is blue today. I talked while cooking. I'm cutting the tomato. The water is boiling. I was even in the habit of talking to people while I folded clothes. This is my favorite shirt. I didn't have to be right all the time. I just needed to keep going. There was no one to judge me, no one to correct me, and that way, my mind stretched out. I wasn't afraid of mistakes. I was merely toying with English. As I learned to speak for the first time, I kept repeating what I saw, what I did, and what I felt. And something truly wonderful happened. My mouth got faster. My voice got stronger. Words came out more easily. I just didn't have to think. I just spoke. My brain made friends with my mouth, and little by little, the fear of speaking disappeared. Then came the big moment. I woke one day and said my entire morning routine in English. From the second I got out of bed to the second I walked out the front door. I didn't plan it. I just did it. Good morning. I'm opening the window. I'm brushing my hair. I'm choosing my clothes. I'm wearing black today. I'm eating eggs and bread. I kept going and going, and then I was finally outside, and I stopped. I knew I had just spoken English for 30 minutes. Alone, proudly, without fear. I smiled. I felt powerful. And not because I was some fancy grammar guy, but because I had brought English into my life. Real English. My English. That day I learned something profound. You don't have to use perfect grammar to talk. You need courage. You need practice. And every now and then, you really do have to be your own best friend. Conversing with myself allowed for that freedom. I could practice anytime, anywhere, while walking, while cleaning, while waiting for the bus. And each time I spoke, I got slightly better, a little faster, a little more confident. So if you're shy, if you feel like you don't have anyone to talk to yourself. Start with one sentence. I am sitting. I am drinking water. Say it out loud. Hear your own voice. Repeat it. Enjoy it. No pressure, no stress. This is your safe space, your practice zone. The more you do them, the stronger your English voice will be. This is exactly what I do now, and the next chapter will be how I turned simple listening into power learning. How I started using my ears to grow my English. But in the meantime, try telling yourself that. Talk to yourself. Be kind, be playful, and most of all, be proud. You're not just studying English, you are living it. one sentence at a time. Chapter 4. I messed up, but I didn't quit. I can recall one moment vividly. It still gives me a little smile. I approached a friend, attempting authoritativeness. I also needed to improve my English. I looked him in the eyes, smiled, and said, "How do you do?" He blinked. Then he laughed. Not in a mean way, I was just surprised. He said, "What? Are you from the 1800s?" I didn't get what he meant at first. I later learned that "how do you do" is old-fashioned and very formal. No one really uses it in daily conversation anymore. I felt my face turn red, embarrassed. I had tried. I had made a mistake, and someone noticed. That was a hard moment. But I didn't stop. Because here's what I discovered. Mistakes are not the enemy. Shame is. And if you can release the shame, every mistake becomes a mentor. So I went home that day and I opened YouTube and I Googled different ways to say hello in English. I saw benign, friendly greetings. Hi. Hey. How's it going? I practiced them in the mirror. I even smiled and waved to the person I was. It felt silly, but it also felt good. I was learning, and then I started to see other things too. I fumbled every step of the way. I said, "He goes to school." "Who goes?" said someone gently. I said, "I no want." Someone corrected me. "I don't want." At first, each correction felt like a slice. Small, but sharp. I lost myself and felt someone else, as if I'd never learned to speak English properly. But one day, something shifted, and a new friend said, "It's not, 'I agree,' it's just, 'I agree.'" And instead of freezing or feeling bad, I smiled and said, "Thank you." That was the spike moment. That was the day I learned not to be afraid of making mistakes. I began approaching every correction as an opportunity, because it signified that I was being helped. It was my way of being one step closer. I also learned that I was funny, or at least that I could laugh at myself. I said to someone at some point, "I am boring." They said, "You mean you're bored?" We both laughed. I laughed too, and laughter made the lesson stick. You see, if you get it wrong and you duck, you stay small. But if you are wrong and you smile, you grow. That's the difference. So I kept speaking. I kept trying. I didn't have a crush on her perfect English. I just used what I knew. I would ask, "Can you repeat that? Is this correct? How do I say this better?" And I said, "Thank you. Keep doing it." Not sorry, not silence. Just thank you. That basic sentiment made all the difference. I didn't care anymore how silly I looked. I was excited to improve. If you're watching this and you've never felt embarrassed, if someone's never laughed at your accent or laughed at your grammar, don't stop. Don't hide. Keep going. Mistakes are evidence that you're alive, that you're learning, and that you're pushing forward. In fact, I think this: the more mistakes you make, the quicker you grow. In the next chapter, I'll share with you how I discovered a secret superpower in listening. But before we go there, I need you to remember this. Your mistakes are not your weakness. They are your power. And every time you're wrong and keep going, you get stronger. Chapter 5. I gave myself in English with no taboos. There was a moment I'll never forget, in particular. It was a quiet evening. I was in my room browsing a beginner English group on the internet. You had people writing short comments, asking questions like, "How do you say this?" or "Is my sentence correct?" I just read on, silent. My heart wanted to join, but my fear stopped me. What if my English is wrong? What if they don't like me? What if I sound silly? I wrote one line. I am learning English. Thank you for sharing this. Then I stared at it. Should I send it? My finger was shaking. My mind was busy with doubt. But there was some part of me that said, just try, somewhere in there. What's the worst that can occur? So I pressed send. Then I waited. 1 minute, nothing. 2 minutes, still nothing. 3 minutes, ping. Someone replied, "Me too. Let's keep learning." I grinned so wide my cheeks ached. And that's when I saw it. My first like from someone I didn't know. From another country. A stranger. But they saw my message. They understood it. And they were kind. That was the moment that changed everything for me. And I hadn't really even considered that before English had been, for people in classrooms, or people who just sounded right. That is, people who lived in English-speaking countries. But now, I was learning something else. English is for reaching out. It's for being human. It's for saying, I'm here, and hearing, I see you. With that in mind, I began to look around a little more. I joined a different English group. This time I opened with, "Hello, I'm from Pakistan. I want to practice English." A few people replied. Some said, "Welcome." Some sent emojis. One person sent a voice note. They said, "Good to meet you. Let's practice together." Now came the big step. My first voice message. Oh, that was scary. I held my phone in my hand. I was like, what if I say the wrong thing? I made the recording 3 times. I deleted it. I tried again. Then I said, "Hello all. My name is Anwar. I like learning English." I pressed send. And then the reply came. "Hi Anwar, your English is clear, keep going." I was flying with joy. It felt as if the world shrank. Suddenly, a person in another country heard my voice, understood me, and encouraged me. That one gentle response gave me strength, so I began to post more frequently, just little things. Nice video. Could someone help me with this word? I'm trying to speak better. Sometimes people replied, sometimes they didn't. But each time I wrote or opened my mouth, I got a little stronger, a little braver. And little by little, my fear started to subside. Here are a few things I learned. People do not expect perfect English. All they want is genuine connection. They respect effort. First, they feel your heart before they hear your grammar. English was no longer just a subject. It became a bridge to others and to myself. If you are watching this and you are shy to post or to speak the language of English, hear this. You are not alone. Everyone starts small. Everyone feels nervous. But when you raise that finger and take that first step, some kind of magic can occur. You connect, you grow, and you understand. You have a voice. You matter. Even the simple phrase, "I am learning," can open the door to new friendships, confidence, and joy. So today, I will ask you to try. Write a comment. Join a group. Send a message. Feel free to write bad English as well. Because the world is waiting for you to make some noise. Believe me, out there is someone who will be smiling when they read your words. Next, some daily English turned into small games and otherwise made learning fun every day. But first, go on. Speak some English today. Say it from your heart. Then, since your English is about more than language, it's about courage, it's about connection, it's about becoming you. Chapter 6. I saw the life, not only the lessons. I'm going to share something with you that revolutionized the way I studied English. At first, I was only watching grammar videos, lessons on tenses, prepositions, and sentence construction. They were helpful, but eventually I felt weary. I understood the rules, but I was unable to speak naturally. Sure, I could explain the present perfect, but I couldn't order a sandwich smoothly. Something was missing. Then, one day I was a bit bored. I wasn't on YouTube to learn, but to relax. And there it was, a video called "Making Pancakes with My Daughter." I clicked it. It was simple. A father in his kitchen, laughing with his little girl. "Pour the milk. Good job. Now do it like this," he said. I heard, and for once, I didn't overthink it. I was just watching life, and I was smiling. It was then that I realized something major. English is all around us, not just in class. It's in the kitchen, in the street, in the laughter of a child. The way people say, "Oops," "Yummy," or "There you go." That day, I wasn't learning grammar, but I discovered something better. I learned real English. So I changed my routine. I began to watch life, not just lessons. I looked for easy English vlogs, a girl in her morning routine, a man traveling to a village, a mother demonstrating how to tidy a room, a baby-themed cartoon that teaches the words hello and more, please. It felt fresh, easy, natural. The English was slower, clearer, and more heavily peppered with actions. I would see people saying, "Let's go outside. Where's my bag? It's raining. Get your umbrella." I was not required to stop every 2 seconds. I just watched and listened. My brain relaxed, and something incredible happened. One night I was watching this travel vlog. A man was in a small town. "Let's see this little shop. Wow, look at these handmade shoes." Then all at once I got it. I understood the entire scene. No subtitles, no translation, just me and English. Together, like friends. I stopped the video and laughed, although not because I learned a new word, but because I wasn't a student anymore. I felt as if I were part of the conversation. That was an absolute spike point in my trajectory. Afterward, I stopped putting so much pressure on myself to study all the time. I stopped by living in English instead. I'd watch the cooking shows and learn the words slice, stir, and boil. I watched the cleaning vlogs and I learned wipe, spray, and tidy up. I watched cartoons and heard funny words like oopsie and peekaboo. I even saw people shopping and heard, "It's too expensive," or "Have you got that in black?" And the best part? These were the words I was effortlessly remembering because they arrived with emotion, pictures, and real-life moments. Let me tell you something. You don't necessarily need to study hard, is what I want you to know. Sometimes, just life is enough watching life in English. Have English walk alongside you as you laugh, cook, relax, or have that quiet time. This is the chapter your pass. Permission to not be a perfect student and to be a happy explorer. Put on a vlog while you eat breakfast. Watch a cartoon with your baby cousin. Clean your room with a travel video on in the background. Let English come to you, not just in books, but in life. Because when English comes in smiles and sounds and stories, it sticks. You don't remember it with your brain. You remember it with your heart. In the next chapter, I'll explain how I managed to keep close to English even on the bad days, even on the days when I wanted to give up. But for now, give yourself a present. Go watch Life in English, not to pass a test, not to impress anyone, just to enjoy. Because occasionally, Chapter 7, I make easy moments. I never thought about becoming fluent in English by doing big things or making big plans, to be honest. I didn't go abroad. I didn't go to an expensive academy. I wasn't studying 10 hours a day. But I did something else. I showed up every day for 10 minutes. Some mornings, I greeted my mirror with a good morning. For a few days, I viewed a quick English language cooking video, one sentence on a shampoo bottle some days, and some days I was too tired, but I whispered one sentence before I went to sleep. I'm learning. I'm not giving up. I wouldn't say it felt like success at the time. It felt too small, too simple. But now, when I turn around, I see something beautiful. All those little things, they added up. They grew. Tiny words became sentences. Sentences entered into conversation with one another. Fear became comfort. Mistakes became memories. Now let me tell you where it all started for me. It was an afternoon, and I was at a tea shop. The man stood behind the counter and smiled at me. "How are you?" And I said without thinking, "I'm good, thank you." It was easy, natural, no fear. He smiled again. I smiled back. It was just 5 words, but it was a trophy to me. Because behind those 5 words are weeks of surreptitious effort, morning mirror talks, self-whispers during walks, voice notes I never shared, comments I was afraid to write but did anyway. All the easy moments I gathered in were the little drops of water. They were a river now. This is what I want you to know. To win, you don't have to do something grand. You just let it take hold with something small, but you do it every day. It doesn't have to be a mountain to learn English. It can be a path, a gentle one, with birds singing, with soft winds, with smiles. Yes, I know, some days you're going to feel trapped. Sure, some folks are going to laugh at you when you screw up. Yes, you're going to forget words and get confused at times. But don't stop. Because every time you see an English word, every time you speak out loud, every time you listen, watch, or read for a minute, you're getting better. You are turning into a stronger, braver, more confident person. And one day, like me, someone will look at you and say, "Your English is good." And you'll grin, not because it's exactly right, but because it's yours, because you built it, piece by piece, word by word, moment by moment. So here we are, at the end of this video. But maybe for you, it's only just the beginning. Perhaps today you'll begin to notice English all around you. Maybe tonight you'll say something to yourself for 30 seconds. Perhaps tomorrow you'll switch your phone to a new language. Perhaps next week you'll post your first comment in English. Perhaps one day you'll help make someone else feel brave too. It starts from one simple moment. And now, it's your turn. Let your journey be soft. Let your learning be kind. And don't forget, fluency is not in the hard lessons. It's found in life, in smiles, in small bravery, and in the English of everyday moments you make. So go ahead, take a deep breath, and say your next English sentence with pride, because your success is multiplying already. If this video helped you even just a small amount, please do one thing. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below saying, "I'm ready for easy English." This channel is not only about learning English, it's about changing your life little by little with honesty, effort, and your heart. You are not alone. We are growing together. So breathe, smile, and take the next small step. Your English can be simple. Your English can be joyful. And your English can commence immediately. So, until the next video, my friend, take care. Breathe, smile, and repeat after me. Everyday English is my latest power. See you in the next video. Keep learning. Keep shining.